Welcome to Patriarchy.com, where we help you become a more virtuous leader for your family. I'm Will Knowland, and on this channel, Daily Patriarchy, I answer all your questions in the comments every day in video form. And I also document our progress towards strengthening society by rebuilding the patriarchy one family at a time. Thanks to your support, this new channel is up to 580 subscribers, 17 days in. Thanks for that. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and also share the content with anybody else you think might benefit from it. You can also join our Marriage Mastery coaching program, which gives you 24/7 support to overcome any struggles you might be facing in your marriage for $297 a month. This is great value because it's around what you'd pay for just 1 hour of marriage counseling or therapy, but you get 24/7 support. I also have my main channel here, Will Knowland, Be Her Leader, where you can get long-form videos to help you grow in other aspects of your marriage too. So on to today's questions then. HSI says, not gonna lie, you were giving good advice. The thought that a lot of couples spend their whole lives having intimacy for duty instead of love for each other is depressing. The Lord expects us to find happiness in marriage and family. And that can never happen if one party is being robbed of their happiness for you without communication and reciprocation. Yeah, thanks for the comment. And you are right. We definitely don't want couples just being intimate for the sake of duty rather than genuine desire. There was actually a study done a while ago, and they asked husbands the question, which would you choose? You never have an orgasm ever again during sex, or your wife doesn't. And the husband said they would prefer never to orgasm again because it was more important for them to know that their wives were genuinely enjoying intimacy with them. So men need to feel that real desire from women. Otherwise, they know on a deep primal level that the attraction isn't there. No man likes the idea of his wife only having sex with him out of mere duty. Now, if that's something you're struggling with and you actually want to rekindle desire, then head over to patriarchy.com/start. We take you through some proven courses to actually rebuild a proper emotional connection with your wife so that the physical connection will follow. So many people actually do live their lives like that, and it's a real shame because that is not the way it's supposed to be. Cooper has a question. He says, sadly, he doesn't see his wife having much free time and needs to work on this. If she has free time, she spends it resting or prepping for upcoming domestic things, homeschool, kids events, holiday, meal planning, decorating the home, etc. The list seems unending. Is this a more significant problem for families of young kids with more time opening up as they get older and eventually leave the home? Well, how do you recommend husbands set up free time for their wives? Well, from what you're describing there, it really sounds like she hasn't got much free time at all, because during the moments that look like they are free time, actually, she's mentally overwhelmed by all the things on her mind that she's worried about coming up that she has to organize and do the administration for. And this is why when husbands tell wives to just go and relax, it doesn't really work, right? She can't relax. You need to actually give her some structure to be able to relax. So step one here is having a conversation with her about the kinds of things that are occupying her mind and preventing her from relaxing. Then you take some of those and put better systems in place so that she feels more in charge of them, because you don't want her to have that feeling of chronic stress so that she's constantly on the verge of burning out. That's one of the main reasons, by the way, apart from just not getting enough sleep, for wives having a big dip in their libido, because they're always what I call running in the red. Right? Most guys wouldn't want to run a car engine with high RPM because you'll damage it. And yet they are running their wives in the red zone for years and years on end, and then acting surprised when it damages their wives psychologically and physically as well. So find out from her what some of these things that are just buzzing around her mind like little stinging insects the whole time, anxieties, worries, concerns, and then reduce those. After you've done that, so that the free time can actually be for restoration and proper free time, you want to think about things that she thinks would benefit her. Maybe it's playing an instrument. Maybe it's reading. Maybe it's doing some drawing. Maybe it's learning something new that she's always wanted to do and would find fulfilling, but hasn't really had the energy for. Then, once you've helped her figure out what those things are, you can actually support her in doing them. It's really important for you to think about the role of female friends here too. So, women benefit a lot from having friendships with other women outside the marriage. So encourage her in actually going to spend time with her female friends. She's going to get things from them that are very important to her that she's not going to get from you. It's really important to her health, mentally and physically, that she has this. And she might not actually feel comfortable doing it because she feels selfish, taking that time away from the family. But it's actually not selfish because people need her. People in the family need her to be in a state where she's not feeling mentally drained and exhausted the whole time. So it's actually a really good investment in your marriage, in your family life, in the overall harmony of the household to put effort into supporting your wife's female friendships. Now, when she sees that you also take an interest in her hobbies as well and are being generous with your time and your attention there and trying to cultivate them alongside her for her benefit, that's really what cherishing her means. So you're helping her to flourish. Hope that makes sense. That's a good question. More questions like this, guys, because this sort of practical day-to-day of how exactly do you help wives spend their free time is what we should be talking about on this channel, because that will make a massive difference to the marriages of a lot of people. So any more questions like that, drop them in the comments now. Maybe what I was saying there provoked some thoughts in you. Let's hear from you. All right, that's all the questions from the Daily Patriarchy channel covered for today. And I'd just like to go through a couple on the other channel too, my main channel. And I think some of these will benefit people as well. Hey, Will, can you do a video on how to discuss key ideas in books with children and teens? I'm reading classical works with my son, but I feel he's got to an age where I need to go in more depth when I speak to him, and I want to engage him in the discussion more. Yeah, that's a good question. And I wouldn't think of it in your mind as being a special discussion of key ideas. Instead, it's just a conversation with your son about what you are finding interesting in the book so that you can then get his thoughts on it. So it might just be a particular description of a character. Why do you think the writer described him in that way when he moved into the room? What impression did you get? I was thinking he came across as intimidating, but deep down nervous. Did you think that? Which words made you think that? So just get him paying attention to detail. Part of the skill of being a good reader is just noticing things, not taking them for granted. And then after you've got a conversation going about some specifics, so particular words, particular phrases, next thing to do would be, well, why did the writer do this? What sorts of themes in the book is this drawing our attention to? Do we think the character has changed in interesting ways? What are some of the biggest changes? Where do you think these changes might lead? Is it making us more sympathetic towards the character? Or do you think it is distancing us from him? Would you want to be friends with someone like this? What would you suspect his motives might be? So talk about the characters as if they're real people. And then the next layer would be get him to make connections between this character or this moment in the book you're studying, or even movies that he's seen too. When you're discussing a book or a film or whatever with your son, it should really just be an extension of your normal conversations that you're having in day-to-day life. It shouldn't be you having a particular set of skills that you think you're applying just specially for a book. It's just about conversation, connection, curiosity, and being interested in what his answers are. Another question in a similar vein: how do you best protect your kids from harmful ideas and behaviors that we see in both media and the education system today? Well, it depends on the age of the kids. For some of them, it's just going to be limiting as far as possible their exposure to the ideas, because the idea that free speech is an extremely important value because we should all be able to say whatever we want and the truth is going to win out in the end. Well, that's not really a Catholic viewpoint. People should not be able to say whatever they want because liberalism isn't the supreme good, okay? So the Catholic viewpoint, and integralism is where you'd want to look to find out more about this, is that people should not be able to disseminate, promote ideas that are contrary to faith and morals. The reason is that truth does not actually win out in a encounter between truth and falsehood in the way that liberalism assumes that it does, because people are attracted to ideas for all sorts of reasons other than truth. Maybe it might appeal to their pride or appeal to their lust, for example. And that's the thing that makes them go with that idea rather than its truth. So treat them as serious occasions of sin and think about what you want your kids to be exposed to. But obviously that's going to vary based on age and their stage of development. When you are at the point where you think some exposure to these ideas is actually going to be good for them intellectually, like Aquinas, for example, studied the pagan philosophers, even though there were lots of bad ideas in them, because he could learn even from their mistakes, okay? Learn even from their mistakes. When you think your kids under your guidance are at that point, then expose them to the secular worldview, but in a controlled way, with you actually helping them to study it, uncover all its false premises, and the way in which it is promoted to children as factual, okay, as valuable, as important for them to learn and follow, and then actually dismantle it alongside them. Then that's a great way for them to find out what's wrong in it, and also at the deepest level, how it's basically a heresy. It's a Christian heresy. So error grows best in the shade of truth, and you can actually deepen their understanding of the faith by showing how these ideologies in the modern world are offshoots of Christianity most of the time. Realistically, other than homeschooling, how can you best prepare your children, boy or girl, for a progressively liberal future? Well, in the way that I have just described there. So being open and honest with them through frank conversations about the way the world is. And let's not be surprised about it either. After the fall, even matter itself fell under the power of the devil. So we're all behind enemy lines here. And they need to understand that this world is a spiritual battlefield in that sense. So it's naive to expect to look around you and not see what we see. Okay, make sure they are disabused of that so that they can actually understand clearly the reality that surrounds them. Could you do a video about what women should do after the kids are out of the home? Well, really, the Catholic teaching is that, other than for very extraordinary reasons, it's actually stay-at-home wives, not just stay-at-home mothers. So before you have kids, you should also be at home. So just make sure you understand that. The way the question is asked makes me think that you think the point of the wife being at home depends on her having kids. No, even before and after. And really here, it's about before kids, doing her duties as a wife well, supporting her husband and preparing for kids who should come along pretty quickly if contraception isn't being used. And then after the kids are out of the home, then she's got all her duties as a wife still, but also as a grandmother, hopefully too. And all sorts of hobbies and interests that she can enjoy and cultivate and flourish as a result of as well. I would love your coaching program for my husband, but I don't know if my husband will want to do the program. I get this question a lot from wives, and you need to understand that the reasons that you want him to do the program are likely also things that he would want to improve in your marriage too. So when you're talking to him about things that you want to see in your marriage as changes, just make sure that you make it clear that it's a win-win. So let's say you want him to be a stronger, more decisive, more confident leader. Well, If you say that to him, he might feel a bit attacked, like you're saying he's not those things. But if you frame it, so you're basically saying you would find it sexy, you would find it attractive if he made these changes, or he used to be more like this, but you notice recently things haven't been going as well, and you'd like to help him to get back to that because here's why you think it would be good. And you'll find that actually he wants that outcome too. That's the best way to have those discussions. 3 tips a man should do daily to be successful. I think you should pray to God, connect with your wife and kids, and make some progress physically and financially. Do you think that saying thank you to a woman is as effective of a positive reinforcement for a woman as it is for a man? Sometimes it seems it can be problematic with inflating a woman's ego. I think it's basic manners, and you should do it. When you say there that it's inflating a woman's ego, to me, that's odd phrasing because woman was made for man, as scripture tells us. So she is really keen on getting your attention and validation. One of the most common complaints from wives is that they don't feel appreciated for the work that they do for their husbands, for their families. So I would actually go beyond just a thank you and be specific, right? A well-timed, sincere, really specific compliment. I really liked it when you made that particular dish because it was so great how you put so much effort into, and say one thing about it that you truly, sincerely did really appreciate. Or it might be you just noticed something's been done around the house, some tidying, some cleaning or whatever. Just say, that looks great. And then that goes a long way towards keeping things running smooth between the two of you. Again, this is just basic civility, basic courtesy, and it's the duty of a husband to treat his wife with generosity and honorably. So make sure you do that. If you have enjoyed this content, then make sure to check out the support community at patriarchy.com/start. We got 270 members at the moment, great value, $9 a month. We can delve into aspects of leadership like this in as much detail as you like. And you can also meet men there who are like-minded and can help you on your journey. Thanks for watching. Share, subscribe, comment, and then I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of the video and see you again tomorrow. Take care.